In Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6, when the Son is being called the Prince of Peace, the mighty God, the wonderful Counselor, but here's the thing, he is called the Everlasting Father. What does this mean? Stay tuned. So again, in Isaiah chapter 9 and 6, Jesus the Son that is given, the child that is born, is called the Everlasting Father. What does this mean? So we want to read the whole scripture in context, okay? So let's do it. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given. Now here's the thing. A son is given, okay? There's a Trinity right there. The Son is given. A son, the Son. A son is given. That's Jesus. Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He is not the Father. But when we read a little bit further, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, everything put under his feet, right? And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. I'm going to skip it to the last one to build intense. Prince of Peace, Everlasting Father. So does this mean, once and for all, that Jesus Christ is the Father as well as the Son and the Spirit? Does this mean that the Trinity is now debunked just with this one passage of Scripture? Not necessarily. Okay, so we're going to look at a few passages of Scripture in the in the New Testament to then be revealed, because again, just like I always say in my videos, the Old Testament was the mystery of God. And now it is revealed. We know in part, and now we know fully, that the revelation of God in Colossians chapter 1, and we're actually going to go into that passage. We know now fully that the mystery of God in the Old Testament is now revealed to us in the New. So we can look into the New Testament and we can see exactly why he's called the Everlasting Father, if he is the Son of God. So let's go to Colossians chapter 1. Let's jump up to verse 15 and let's go 16 to 17. So it says right here in Colossians 1 verse 15, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. Now, I'm not going to jump into that, okay? We'll do that in a separate video. I think I already did that. Anyway, verse 16, for by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, rather thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. So right here, let's go up a little bit further. So now we can be sure of three words being used about Jesus's involvement, the Son's involvement in creation. It says right here, for by him all things were created. We can see that Jesus, right, was he created everything. It was by him, through him, and for him. So the Father, the Son, and the Spirit were all equally, right, part of creation. They all had their separate roles in creation. However, they all, as being one God, created everything, okay? So all this passage is trying to say, not that he is the Father, okay? Not that he was the sole creator of everything, being Jesus, the Son of God. Now, it's just basically saying that he is God, and he created everything. So the very important thing right here is in verse 17, and he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So before all things, he was before all things, okay? So that's including time, okay? That's including time. So we can say, just through these passages alone, that Jesus was not created, okay? He was not created. He was before all things, including time. That means that he was eternal from eternity to eternity, okay? Now, we're going to then make the distinction in John chapter 1, verse 1, right? Actually, let's jump there now. John chapter 1, verse 1. And then we can say in verse 2 as well. So right here it says, in the beginning was the Word. Now we know that the Word became flesh in verse 14. So we know that because of the fullness of Scripture, we know that Jesus is the Word. And then, so right here, in the beginning, before anything, was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Here we go. Verse 2. He was in the beginning with God. So we all know by Colossians 1 and 17 that he was before all things. All things includes space, time, and matter. All things, time. So that means that he was eternal. He was as far back as you can put it. That was who Jesus was, with the Father and the Spirit. Okay? From eternity to eternity. Okay? So, let's jump back. Now, actually, no, let's stay here. Verse 3. Now, this is exactly why I think that Jesus was called the Everlasting Father in Isaiah 9 and 6. It says right here, all things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. So, if we can take this passage right here, and then we can jump back to Isaiah, the reason that he was called the Everlasting Father is not because he is the Father. That's because he was the Father of all creation. He was the Father of all creation. Okay? That means that he created all things. So, he was the Father of all eternity, being God, the Father of all eternity. That's because he created everything. So when you create something, you become their father. You become the father of that very thing. And so because we are talking about God, okay, the mighty God, the wonderful counselor, Prince of Peace, and everlasting Father, the reason that we have mighty God, our wonderful counselor, Prince of Peace, and everlasting Father, right? We have the Father, Son, and Spirit right there, right? So the Spirit is called wonderful counselor. The Spirit is called the other counselor. Okay, another counselor, another a helper, right? The counselor. So you got that. And then you got Prince of Peace. And then you got Everlasting Father. So what it's saying here is that Jesus is God and he created everything. That's all it's saying. It's not saying that he is the Father, Son, and Spirit. No, because we know. Now how can we jump to this conclusion? I mean, you can date this back to my other videos. In 1 John chapter 4, this is one of my favorite passages right here. Verse 15. Now this proves that Jesus Christ is not the Father, but he is the Son. It says, again, 1 John chapter 4, verse 15. Whoever confesses that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, God abides in him and he in God. So if that's the case, then we know that he is the Son. So he cannot also be the Father, because the Father is distinct from him. Read the entire Gospel of John. And read John 1 and 2. John 1, 1 and 2. Okay? He was with God. The Word was with God. He was in the beginning with God. So we all know that with God right there is being intimate. Okay? In the bosom of the Father. Okay? You are part of that one being God, Jesus. So Jesus is called the Everlasting Father because he is God and he created everything. So this is a pretty short video, but I just wanted to point that out, right? Because a lot of people like to use this very passage to prove just this one passage. They don't want to look at anything else. They want to look at this one passage and say, see, he's called the Everlasting Father. That means that he is the Father. They don't want to look at the rest of the context of Scripture. So, if you don't like this video, that's okay. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this passage. And hopefully we can bounce off each other and maybe get a little bit of more truth into this very, very passage here and what it's actually trying to say. All right, because I love to learn about the Bible. And if anybody knows more than me, which they will always be somebody that knows more than me about the Bible, please comment below and let's look at it together, okay? Like, subscribe to all that great stuff. If you enjoyed it, and if you think this is helpful, share it to everybody you love and even the ones you don't love, okay? No, but if you don't like somebody, send it to them. If you like them, Send it to them. Send it to anybody you can, right, that has trouble with the Trinity. Like, subscribe, do all that great stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.